Alright, in this one, I've made some adjustments with a custom. Friendly Ghost is on, so it can't kill us. And I'm just looking to introduce everybody to the Cursed Possessions, which you've seen in some of the other videos. I'm going to grab some matches for one of them. I think you've seen them all at this point, maybe. Alright, first one is the Magic Mirror, the Haunted Mirror. You pick it up. It's not activated, it's just reflecting. When you bring it up, it reveals the ghost room, which in this case is the basement. Here's our summoning circle. Actually, first thing I'm going to do should have brought more sanity medication than I did, come to think of it. The thing about the Haunted Mirror is it drains quite a bit of sanity every time you view it, and then every while how many times you have it up, how much you have it up. Now, the Haunted Mirror basically, it's either going to drain 7.5% sanity per second or 20% sanity per usage, whichever is higher. So every time you use it, you're going to drain at least about 20% sanity. And then every second you have it used after that's another 7.5. If the user, if you run out of sanity, it reaches 0 sanity, it will immediately break and immediately start a cursed hunt. The mirror really just has two uses, telling you where the ghost room is, or the current ghost room, because on higher difficulties that can change, and lowering your sanity if you want to do that intentionally. So as you see, we're at about 80% sanity now. So use up our sanity medication to bring us back to full. Now all the objects drain sanity to some extent or another. So what should I do next? I'll do the tarot cards next. Now tarot cards are a little more complicated than the other ones. Other Cursed Possessions kind of require their own page. Now there's 10 different cards you can get. The deck has 10 cards. It's not guaranteed. It'll be just one of each. So you could have 3 of one, 2 of something else, and might not even counter certain cards. You got the Tower, which burns blue. Let me just show you how this works. Okay, flip a card, Death, but it's the Fool. So basically it negates a card. Otherwise, Death would start a cursed hunt. Card can be a Fool, and if you draw cards during a hunt, they will always be the Fool. Let's see, what do we get next? The Wheel of Fortune, which can be green or red. If it's green, it gives you 20% sanity. If it's red, it takes it away. Again, it could also be a Fool card potentially. And then the Wheel of Fortune, oh, Fool, so that did nothing. Devil, so the ghost appears, often right on top of you. If you need a ghost event, that's very useful. And since it collided with us, we lost at least 10% sanity. The Tower, which forces a ghost interaction, and it also doubles the ghost's activity for 20 seconds. The Wheel of Fortune, okay, red, so we lost 20 sanity. The Hangman card will instantly kill the user, but in this case it was a Fool, so it didn't do anything. Also, since I have Friendly Ghost on, it's possible that that's why Death and the Hangman were Fool cards. The hermit locks it in the room for a minute. Or it moves it to the favorite room and then locks it there for a minute. But it actually doesn't prevent like hunts or events or anything from happening. Oh, we got another death card. This wasn't a fool. Okay, so, but it's doing nothing because friendly ghost is turned on. And then lastly, we got another tower card. The ones that we missed, we didn't get a sun card, which brings it up to 100. Your sanity immediately up to 100, or the moon card, which brings it down to 0. The high priest card, which either revives a random player that's dead, or it basically kind of gives you a 1-up, and it revives it in a queue. So when the next player dies, it will automatically revive them. And we did see the hangman, but we didn't see it kill us. Now, the thing with this one is once you've used all 10 cards, it completely disappears. So if you want a photo of the tarot cards, then you need to get it before they're used up. Next, we got the music box. While the music box is playing, it slowly drains sanity. Anybody who is within, I believe the range is 2.5 meters, and you'll lose 2.5 sanity every time you hear the song. If you sit through the entire song, it's going to be a loss of 75% total sanity. The song itself lasts 30 seconds. Now, the thing is, if you're within 2.5, if you reach 0 sanity, it's immediately going to stop and you get a cursed hunt. And once the ghost, if the playing music box is within a certain range, which is 5 meters for most ghosts or 2.5 for yokai, it will appear and start advancing towards the music box. If it reaches the music box, everything stops and it's a cursed hunt. And if you throw it, not place it on the ground, then it immediately stops playing and begins a cursed hunt. We call that the grenade. Now, mind you, the ghost can still do stuff while it's under the sway of the music box. So keep that in mind. It could start just a normal hunt at any point. It could do events. It can do interactions. However, once it's within range of the box and starts advancing towards it, it should cease all activity, although I'm not entirely certain about that. So basically, if it's, you'll start to, oh, actually the power just went out. Start playing it. Oh, it just reached me, because apparently it was sitting right here, so it was wandering around. And then let's see what should we do next. We've done that one. Okay, so there is the voodoo doll. And it's probably the most straightforward of cursed possessions. It's got 10 pins. You push one randomly. 9 out of 10 of them will force the ghost to do some kind of ghost interaction at their current location, and you lose 5% sanity. The 10th pin, though, the heart pin, immediately starts a cursed hunt, and it costs 10% of your sanity. Keep in mind, since this is forcing a ghost interaction, this can reveal an EMF 5 evidence potentially. And it could also force the ghost to potentially write in the book as well. So let's see how this goes. Oh, see, we got the heart pin on the 3rd time. We normally forced a ghost interaction. You can hear some of the things it's doing down in the basement. Now, the thing about this is once you've used up those 10 pins, you just can't use the voodoo doll anymore. So for a lot of people, it's kind of the worst cursed possession. Now, next we got the monkey paw. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna reset my sanity into another game. 1 second. Alright, I started a new game, so our sanity is at 100, and I brought along 4 sanity medications in this case. Now, this is an interesting cursed possession. If you're familiar with the monkey paw, basically wish but at a cost. Um, so there's a whole set of questions, wishes you can make on it. Mind you, an invalid wish just won't work. It'll do a little flex. And if you don't want to wish, just drop the monkey paw. You actually have to be holding it to wish. So nobody can come along while you're holding it and wish something else. You've got a whole set of questions you can actually ask it. I wish to see the ghost. I wish for activity, or I wish the ghost could do something. I wish to trap the ghost. I wish the ghost was trapped. I wish to be sane. I wish for sanity. I wish to be safe. I wish to leave. I wish to revive my friend. I wish for life. I wish for knowledge. I wish for, and then you can wish for any weather, like I wish for rain. I wish for anything, which is just random. Now you can naturally find these. There's a puzzle during different maps where you can figure out the questions. But if you do text recognition, then it's just going to give you the at least some of the options. So starting with I wish to see the ghost, it sets a curse. It sets a ghost event, and it appears in front of you. The ghost disappears after 5 seconds, and then immediately starts a cursed hunt. But the player vision is obscured, and then once the hunt's over, the player's vision restores to normal. So it's basically very likely to kill the person making this wish, but you'll get a ghost event and you'll get a hunt. Wishing for activity, it doubles the ghost's activity for about 2 minutes. Mind you, this also includes roaming behaviors, ghost interactions, ghost abilities. But the exit doors are locked for the next 2 minutes, and the fuse box will be permanently broken. I wish to trap the ghost. It sends it back to its favorite room, prevents it from hunting, roaming, or using any of its abilities for the next minute. But all the doors to the user's current room and the ghost's favorite room will be immediately locked. And then once that minute's done, it'll start a cursed hunt. There's a 25-ish% chance the doors won't unlock until after the grace period is concluded. But if there isn't one for whatever reason, because of the difficulty settings, it won't have any use there. Oh. And then we have I wish to be sane, or I wish for sanity, which is probably the one I use the most, and that's really just to drop my sanity. It sets the sanity of all the players to 50%. It increases passive sanity drain by 150% for the remainder. And then it changes the ghost's favorite room to another room. And it'll even do so in the cases of Gorios or bugged banshees, mimics, and so on and so forth. Again, I usually just use this to reduce my sanity to 50. I wish to be safe. It opens up the nearest blocked hiding spot, assuming there is one. The lights in the current room will shatter, and the ghost's vocal and electronic detection will basically, for that user only, will be unlimited for the rest of the contract. So it'll be able to detect you across floors on the other side from your voice and your electronic devices. Um, it's not a bad wish, actually, and if you hide in a spot that you're fairly safe, you don't have to worry too much. And when you're doing that on amateur, hunt's only going to be like 15 seconds. I don't know if it doesn't actually start a hunt per se, so you could still have just a normal hunt, and again, 15 seconds. Then I wish to leave. That's a special wish out of the monkey paw that unlocks all the exit doors, and you can actually use the monkey paw during a hunt, but it decreases the user's speed and vision for about 5 seconds. This is the only way to open up the exit doors during a hunt, so it is incredibly useful if you get the monkey paw. Then there's I wish to revive my friend, or I wish for life. Um, it'll revive a random dead player, assuming there is one, but there's a 50-50 chance it'll kill the user. Um, and as far as I can tell, it doesn't do anything. It's not a valid wish in a single player game, or if there's not any dead players. So you can't accidentally do this to kill yourself. And then you got I wish for knowledge. This is kind of a interesting one. It'll put a black smudge over one type of evidence that the ghost doesn't give, and all the ghosts in the journal that provide that kind of evidence. But the person who does it has muffled audio and visuals until they either the end of the contract or they die. And then the ghost immediately starts a hunt near the user. This is probably one of the most suicidal wishes, actually. But if you don't mind dying and you want the rest of the team um, to, have a leg up, I've seen this done on a lot of zero evidence challenges. Um, Mind you, you're almost certainly going to die doing this. And it really doesn't have any use. I mean, single player if you happen to survive, I guess, but this is more used in multiplayer games. And then you can wish for weather. As far as I can tell, I think you can only uh, wish for the weather overall once. All these wishes, for the most part, I believe you can only do that one wish once. Um, it changes the weather, but the user is blinded for a few seconds and it drains 25% of their sanity. Most of the time I use this, it's just to drain sanity. And then I wish for anything, which is a random chance of any of the valid wishes. Um, and if it happens to grant the weather one we just talked about, it'll pick a random weather. It doesn't really have any additional effects or cost other than what you used for the wish. So I wish for rain. So it just drained 25% of my sanity and it picked either light or heavy rain. I think this is this heavy rain maybe? Okay. Take a look at our sanity. Alright, let's heal some back. Now we have the summoning circle. It will basically it'll summon the ghost, but it's a little more complicated than that. You need an igniter first off to be able to even use it. So this is the only object that requires you to actually have a piece of non-starting equipment to use. Otherwise, it's useless. Um, and it will summon the ghost to the circle in 5 seconds. Um, and technically, that is a ghost event. Uh, However, I think in recent versions, I haven't had that work. And then it starts a cursed location from the summoning cursed hunt from that location. Um, Now there's 5 candles, and each candle will drain 16% of sanity from every player nearby the candle itself, not just the person lighting it. So ideally, you probably just want one person down there with the summoning circle. If you do all 5 candles, it'll drain 80% of your sanity. The key with this is you need at least 80% sanity, or maybe even just a little bit more, because if you don't have the sanity, it'll either just do an immediate cursed hunt and no summoning, or it'll extinguish all the candles. And mind you, while you're lighting this and draining your sanity, you could have a normal hunt happen at any point um, before everything happens. The candles themselves, they do blow out after a little while, so you really need to light them one after another. Um, and mind you, you can relight the candle, but you're going to pay that sanity cost again. So you need a high sanity player, north of 80% here to do it. Um, and again, 5 second ghost event. It provides, should be an EMF4 signature. Mind you, you can put stuff in the circle, so you can put salt down if you want to check salt. You can put a motion sensor down if you want it to trigger that. And it gives you a ghost photo or even video in that case. Um, Now, there are been some reports in the past where if a person's in the circle, it'll do something, but that could be a bug or conjecture or people not realizing how much sanity they've actually drained off there. So let's take a look. Light a match. Let's light the candles. Now, since I got friendly ghost on, it actually didn't actually start a hunt. But yeah, our sanity is down to next to nothing. Let's wait for our sanity to get back up. And we've got the last object. Now we can't relight these candles. This is the summoning the ghost is just a one-time thing. The last one is the Ouija board, which is the oldest, and for a lot of people, the most fun cursed possession. This was in the game before anything else, any of the other cursed possessions. You start by clicking and asking a question, and then you could say goodbye. Make sure to always say goodbye, even if you haven't asked a question, because if you walk away from this when it's still active, it will immediately break and start a cursed hunt. So there's a couple of different things you can do with the Ouija board. Now, if you don't have enough sanity, if your sanity um, goes to zero or it was already at zero when you ask a question, it will just break the board and start a cursed hunt. So make sure you have enough sanity to cover the cost. As a result, it's pretty good reusable item for lowering sanity. Um, Interesting, you can also ask it to play hide and seek. That is a 5-second countdown. It explodes and a cursed hunt starts at the ghost's current location. This is frequently used to grief or troll other people, um, but there's a little bit more leeway because of the 5-second countdown compared to the grenade tactic of the music box. Because you still got a 5-second warning. Mind you, if you know it was actually said. And then, of course, as I said, make sure to always say goodbye. Now, when it's answering a question, you can get video of the planchette moving around the board, and you get an EMF 2 or 3, which could be an EMF 5. And again, this could be a way to basically have a ghost interaction. There's a whole slew of questions. Probably the most used one, which takes 50% of your sanity, is to ask, where are you? What's your favorite room? Um, and you'll get basically a name of the room at the location. I believe this says where the ghost currently is, not necessarily its favorite room. I can't recall if asking specifically the favorite room actually works. Um, the next question that's his most used, which also costs 50% sandy, didn't always, but is where is the bone? Where did you die? Where's your body? And it always gives the name of the location where the bone is. So those are the most useful ones, but they're most expensive. Um, some people will ask, how old are you? What's your age? That only costs 5 sanity, and this can be useful for checking for a Fae, because that age will never change. But a Fae, it will age over time. There's some other stuff you can ask, like, are you here? Are you close? And that just gives you a yes or a no. That can be a cheaper way to check if the ghost is in a given room, but that doesn't really mean it's a favorite room. You can ask, do you respond to everybody? That's another 20-point question. Could be a way to tell whether or not it responds to everybody or alone. You can also ask some other stuff that isn't necessarily relevant, but how long have you been dead? How long ago? When did you die? And it just picks a random number that really has no use. What's my sanity has a little bit of use and only costs 5 points. It says healthy if you're above 80, good if you're 60 to 80, average 40 to 60, bad 20 to 40, and awful if you're below 20. So it could be another way to check your sanity levels. On some difficulties, you could break the sanity monitor for more rewards, so this might be a way to tell that. How did you die? It will list out however it died, but it has no bearing on the game. You can ask, how do you feel? Are you okay? It gives mood and feeling responses. Why are you here? What do you want? Gives a couple of different valid responses, but again, not useful. Knock. If you say knock knock, it'll say who's there. That's another one that costs 5. If you say Marco, it'll say Polo. That costs another 5. Since voice recognition can be a little iffy, sometimes weird questions will get a response because it'll be recognized as something else. But let's give it a try. Where are you? Goodbye. Alright, well, let's see what hide and seek looks like. Hide and seek. Now, once the board's obviously broken, you can't, I don't think you can get a picture. I'm not entirely sure on that. And you certainly can't use it again. So anyways, those are the cursed possessions. No, it's a long video that doesn't have an investigation, but it should give you a general idea of how to use them. Till next time, have a good one.